This is a website called Desmos that is a free graphing calculator. There are a number of options if we scroll down a little bit to get a scientific calculator and some other things for different classes. Most of the time, if you're going to use this tool, you'll just click on opening the graphing calculator here. You can see that we've got an axis system over here on the right, and then on the left-hand side is where we can enter different options. One thing to note on the left-hand side, this website will also do calculations for you. So if I wanted to do 5 plus 17 minus 3 raised to the second power, I'm going up to the second power by using the caret button. It's the little V that's upside down on the 6 key. And you can just type in numbers if you want, and Desmos will do a calculation. Most of the time, though, we'll use it for graphing. If I want to graph a point, I'll use parentheses. And then let's say I want to graph the point 3, -5. You can see that down here, our point is listed. If I click on this label button, it will show me the coordinates. I can also change the label if I want to say my point, oops, or point A, whatever you want to label a point, you can change the label. If I'd like to change the color of that point, I can click on this little gear up here. It looks like a settings symbol. And then clicking on the color will allow me to change that to green. I can change it to look like an X instead, or an open circle. So I have a number of different options. Down here in the bottom right, this lets me choose where I want the label to be. So if I click up here, it's going to move the label to be on the top of my point, or if I click here, it'll put the label on the right-hand side. So we've got a lot of options in here. To take something off the screen, I can just click on the color, and it will have that not show anymore. I've got to turn the label off if I don't want there anymore. Suppose that I want to graph an equation. Let's say I type in y equals 2x minus 1. It's going to graph that line. I can see that its y-intercept is here at -1, and it looks like it's got a slope of 2. One thing that's kind of great about Desmos is that if I click anywhere on something that I've graphed, it'll show me points on the graph. And so you can see that if I kind of scroll over here and get, it's really hard to get right to 0, I can see that the y-intercept for this particular line is 0, -1. And the x-intercept here I can see is 1/2, 0. So this makes it really easy for us to find the intercepts just by plugging in a graph. Oftentimes we'll be using Desmos to graph things that are more complicated, like, let's say, x cubed minus 25. What you'll notice is that I can't see the entire graph here. So if I go over on the right-hand side and click on this little negative sign, it'll allow me to zoom out. But even then, I can't see a lot of detail. The graph looks really squished into the center. So over here on the right, there's a little graph settings. It looks like a wrench. If I click on that, it'll allow me to make some changes to what the overall graph looks like. I want the x-axis to not be so spaced out. I'm going to change the x-axis so that it goes between -10 and +10. And by doing that, you can see that the scale for my x-axis now is going by 2s, and the scale for my y-axis is going by 20s. The x-axis and the y-axis don't have to match one another, but the tick marks within each axis need to be consistent. I can't jump by 5 and then jump by 20. I have to jump by a consistent number along the x-axis, and I have to have jumps by a consistent number on the y-axis. I can, again, kind of scroll here to see maybe what the x-intercept is over here. I can see it's some decimal number. I can see what the y-intercept is here. So this is kind of a nice way to get some information about a graph. I also have the option, if I want, to turn the grid lines off. Sometimes it makes the graph a little bit easier to read. I can, if I choose, to get rid of the axis numbers, though I don't think most of the time we'll do that. Most of the time we'll leave most of these things on. Suppose that I have two graphs and I want to see where they intersect one another. So let's leave this x cubed minus 25. Let's add another graph, y equals 5x. Now I've got a line and a cubic function that are both on the same graph, and you can see there's an intersection point, and if I click there, it'll tell me what the coordinates of that are. Desmos is really precise. It's got the details of the decimals are going out a number of decimal places. Oftentimes for our class, we'll round to the tenths or the hundredths place. So pay attention to what the directions are saying in any assignments that you're turning in. And then the last thing that I want to show you is down here, there's a little keyboard that you can open up, and there are some additional math symbols that you might want to use. There's a square root button, for example, that you can type in here, telling us that the square root of 25 is equal to 5. But another thing that I could do is maybe graph the square root of x. Let me zoom out here a little bit. This is what the graph of the square root of x looks like. And so there are a lot of different options here in Desmos. Some of the assignments that you will be turning in, you'll be utilizing this website. If you have questions, feel free to reach out, and if you're interested in doing something specific, you can send me a message or maybe just try to type it into the internet, and there are a lot of help videos that you can find.